He always talked about the muscle tissues and the tendons when you're working out. Sometimes people just get the outside muscle. They get the, just working biceps, doing curls, not even thinking about it. And he's really big on the tendons and the muscle tissues for longevity. And I'm working out for longevity because I'm going to be probably a father later in life. So I want to be able to move. And I want to be able to move as long as humanly possible. And Kyle's one of the only trainers that get that. So today, we do a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday split. And today, the workout is all about the muscle tissues and the fibers. And you'll see when we do this stuff, it's very slow. We adjust the positioning. We're gonna hit legs and we're gonna hit back. But especially on the leg side, we adjust the positioning to really hit the fibers. You'll see how we do it. But first, gotta warm up.
Just getting loosened up a little bit, and then we'll get into it.
My hips get so tight. And so again, it may seem kind of boring, but those two things, and especially this one, elongates my hip flexors because my hip flexors are terribly tight. And we'll do 2 minutes on what we just did and 2 minutes here. And then when I go on my own, depending on how I feel, I'll do that, but I always now try to do this one because it's right here. So when we first started doing those medicine ball throws, you could barely hear the ball hit the wall. No power, because I had no rotational power of any kind.
You had no rotation.
I had no rotation, right? Yeah. What's your background?
So I've got an undergrad double major biology chemistry with a minor in physical science and then a master's in psych.
What I've learned with him is there's so much more to it, depending on what your goals are. But if you're really doing it for longevity, there is so much more to it than just like going in and working out. There's truly like a science to it. Every 6 weeks we change it up, and each day is different and going after something else. It may be where my heart rate is and being able to work out at a zone 3 or zone 4 and maintain that for a longer period of time than like 2 minutes. It may be staying in zone 2. Today, it's about the tendons and the muscle tissues. Like every day, there's a purpose and reason for it. And for me, at least, when I work out, I like to know the why behind it. Otherwise, I'm just going through the motions. And Kyle, I call him the mad scientist because we do all this stuff and I learn a bunch each time. But today's what? Like the muscle tissues and tendons, isn't it?
Yeah, today, so Nick's in an accumulation phase right now. So we do a lot of substrate-based work. And right now, he's in a submaximal strength accumulation phase. We're coming off an intensification phase. It was a little more neurological. So he's working through days 1 and 2 of his 3-day split are myofibril days. So today is his primary squat and his primary pull. We're working through full range of motion, really trying to leverage lengthened orientations of those tissues as well. So we're doing low position leg press, a lot of knee flexion, maximal hip flexion, and then a loaded pull-up. So again, maximal shoulder flexion as we kind of go through that as well, emphasizing eccentric tempos and stress on tissues as we get into those fully lengthened ranges of motion. That's also going to stress the tissues and the tendons around those joints a little more. So his day 3 is a little different, and we'll get to that later on in the week.
But, and my shoulders have gotten better.
Yeah.
So my shoulder was so bad, it was hard to do any kind of bench press, even I'd feel on a push-up. I would have never thought doing weighted pull-ups would help with that. But each rep, I go all the way down and then back up, and I almost have no shoulder problems anymore. Even like the sled, he was talking about maximum, I don't know if you said flexibility or range of motion.
Range of motion, yeah.
You'll see the ankles, and my knees, that's all works too for like my running. And I did yesterday 8 miles, and that's the best I felt on a run since I started running about 2 years ago. And I haven't increased the running. In fact, I'm doing less running now, but more of this stuff. Training for a half Ironman last year, working, swimming at night at midnight, biking, I was a mess. I never hydrated. Didn't even think about it. This is probably my branched chain aminos, dextrose, pre-workout, hydrogen water, de-bloat, hydrogen shot. Never gonna have kidney stones again. I never knew what it would feel like to be pregnant, and I'm told it's equivalent to being pregnant. Never again. If you can't rack your own weight, you shouldn't be in the gym. It's just a leg machine, right? First of all, their machines in here are incredible. The feet positioning, instead of like up there, down low, which will make it at the bottom, ankle flexibility and the knees. Everyone talks about don't bring your heels to your ass and like knee, don't go below parallel, it's bad for the knees. Not if you got weight you can manage and you get that flexion.
Not a lot of weight yet. So this is week 2 of this phase. So Nick will be moving up as he's able to every week for the next 6 weeks. So by the time we're done, he'll probably be on 5.5 plates. But this is where we're building up. We're keeping static reps. So it's gonna be 6 sets of 5 throughout the entire phase, 30 total reps. But as we go through from weeks 1 to 6, his total volume is going to double over the course of each of these exercises. So with static reps, with linear progressions, it is gonna be a huge load difference over the course of the program.
Other thing, rest in between, I never used to pay attention to it. 30 seconds, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. He's religious about the rest. So this is 60 seconds. We're on set 5. It makes a difference.
I want to talk about his rest time really quick. So the big thing with the timed rest, especially in Nick's case, is we want to manage performance rather than managing fatigue. So a lot of people that aren't tracking their rest and they're just going straight into the next thing, whatever, they're getting that physiological feeling of fatigue, but their outputs and their performance are dropping off. We're in the weight room to make sure that his performance stays optimized as much as possible. So there's a delicate balance of how much rest is enough versus how much is too much versus how much is not enough. So we want the minimum rest possible that he can still maintain his outputs. As we move up in load with his exercises over the next 3-4 weeks, we might even increase that rest to 90 minutes or 90 seconds, even 2 minutes, depending on how his outputs are actually looking. But we do want to track it, we do want to measure it, and we want to make sure that it's progressing along with the weight appropriately as we go.
So when we first started doing these, we did no weight for reps of 5 on the pull-ups, and I could barely get my chin over the bar.
And you weren't going down all the way.
I want to go down the way. The goal, I want to get to 90 weighted, 2 plates, which we'll get to for reps of 2s or 3s. This is more of a controlled pull-up where you're at the top, you squeeze it, elbows to the ribs, and not just chin over the bar, but like...
Yeah, as high as you can get.
Yeah.
Well, in Nick's last, so we did an intensification phase last, and we got up to doubles with a 75 pound dumbbell. So as we go through this phase and then get into another intensification phase afterwards, we'll hit that 90.
Intensification phase is when you load it up.
That's high load, low rep.
Yeah. So we did high rock, or I did a high rock. One of the weakest areas was my lunges, because my hips, some of the tightness there, not great mobility. So now we're incorporating lunges now, and then I do a high rocks workout where we do them too. So you find the area where you need improvement, and then you focus in on it. Where am I going, all the way down?
Yep.
And back or just down?
10 each. So you'll probably...
10 each leg?
Yeah, so...
And then tell them why you have me do the...
Yeah, so You'll see Nick's working on a little bit of rotation. So we're looking at rotating his pelvis on his femur, which is just gonna offload his quads a little bit, allow his adductors and his glutes to do a little bit more work through here, and just working a little bit more hip mobility as we're going through his actual work.
So, had a lot of shoulder issues. It's because right here, that muscle is weak because these compensate for it. So that's why we're doing this now, to try and get lighter weight, try and focus in on that. So when I'm doing the rep, mind to muscle, I'm thinking about in here and pinching them together. I only had a 25 on each side. However, normally with these things, you see a lot of plates. Can you tell the people why it's harder?
Yeah, so
it'll make me feel better.
Yeah, from a physics perspective, the pivot point is higher. The pivot point is higher rather than being on the ground where a lot of T-bars are or chest supported rows are. So the higher the pivot point, the more deleveraged the user, the person actually is. Yeah. So that makes it feel heavier with the same amount of weight. It leverages the weight a little better.
So it's just the equipment, it's not me. So chalk is messy. You go in these gyms, people leave their weights on the racks. They don't clean up after themselves. It's very disrespectful. Not only to the people that own the gym, but to the people that are gonna use the gym, and frankly to yourself. I don't know how people don't rack weights or clean up after themselves. Think about that. What's that say about you? So, sorry. To those of you that clean up and rack your weights, great job. To those that don't, start doing it. It's a bad habit.